Hey guys, it's Jessica, and today I have a sweat-proof go-to look, whether you're going to a theme park, Disney, a barbecue outside, anywhere where you're going to be outside for a while and you know you're going to be sweating, you know you're going to be in the sun. These are all a collection of products. This is a look I'm going to do with you today that is totally wonderful in the sun, in the heat, when you're sweating. Now, this is not makeup to go to the pool and just start swimming with. I mean, I've done a video on completely waterproof makeup. If you're interested, I will link it below, where I literally get in the shower and just let the water hit me for minutes so that you can see that all of it stayed. It was amazing. These are all, I would say, pretty much waterproof, but definitely sweat-proof, beautiful in the sun. I give a couple of different options for different lips, different cheek products that depending on what you like. And all of this will be linked below. All of it is drugstore, except for one item I'll talk about at the end. All of it's drugstore, and they're all just amazing, amazing products. If you like this kind of a video, definitely give it a thumbs up. Let us know below what your sweat-proof makeup product recommendations are down in the comments. I hope that you will subscribe while you're here to catch more drugstore and high-end makeup videos. And let's go ahead and get into it. Started with some lip balm. This is the Shea Moisture Shea Butter Lip Balm. It's got African watermint and ginger. I love this stuff. Next up will be SPF. I'm using this Biore UV Aqua Rich Watery Essence. My friend Laura told me about this and I tried it and I was like, what? This is the best, thinnest, most like matte SPF I've ever used. It's so perfect for the face. You have to buy it on Amazon because it is not in the States. Well, depending on where you live, I guess. But I bought it on Amazon and it took a while to get here. You can pay a little bit more to get it. You can pay a little bit more to get it quicker. But anyway, it's just like, it goes on so thin. It does a great job. I wore this in Vegas when we were at a pool and we were outside a lot and I had no color on my face, which I appreciate. But it's just great and it sits really well under makeup. It doesn't look weird, and that's why, like, for me, I'm like, it is worth paying a little bit extra to order from far, far away because it is that good. It is that good. And if I didn't mention, it has SPF of 50, so that's a win right there. Now that that has sunk in pretty well, the next step will be primer. So this is the NYX Angel Veil. The reason I like to use this when I need to be kind of sweat proof, whether it's at a theme park or maybe it's, I don't know, at a barbecue and it's really hot outside but you want to look full glam. This is going to be a look that's certainly more makeup than anyone ever needs to wear for something like that. But like when I'm at Disney, for example, I like wearing a full face of makeup because we're vlogging, we're taking pictures, you know, we're going to dinner, and it's something that A, I don't want to have to touch it up throughout the day, but B, I just like looking nice. So, you know, I'm on vacation, and I know for some people that means taking a break from like doing their daily stuff, but to me, I'm like, ooh, I get to wear makeup still. I love it. Anyway. So that's on that I love because it really stays in place all day and holds on to any foundation you put on. So the foundation that I love, that I feel is very, very budge proof, is the number 7 Stay Perfect foundation. It's got medium coverage. I would say medium to high. I have to mix colors. I have like 6 shades now and none of them are quite right. So I'm mixing Warm Ivory and Calico, but this, I love that it has a pump. It just stays in place all day. It's got beautiful coverage. So what I do is I literally just mix it on my hand, by the way. And then I'm gonna use a sponge. I'm just gonna wipe the extra off there. I'm using the Flower Beauty sponge with this, just to kind of get it on. But this sits really nicely atop the Angel Veil primer. It sits nicely atop every primer. It's the best. But this Flower Beauty sponge, by the way, is like the squishiest sponge I've ever used in my life. It is so good. So you can tell, you can still see some life in your skin, which is why I love this foundation. So when you're in the sun, you don't look all cakey, and yet it's still really good coverage. And that is hard to find in a foundation. The concealer, it was a total toss-up for me. I wanted to use a concealer that'd be good for a lot of you, so it still has pretty good coverage, but it stays in place. This is not my favorite concealer. This is the NYX HD. But when it comes to longevity at the drugstore, this is my favorite. So, and actually I think it's a little bit light for me right now. This is in Fair, but that's okay. So I'm gonna use that same sponge, just the kind of the corner of it. This one's a little bit trickier to do up here. But I don't like to go too heavy on concealer when I'm gonna be in the sun because I feel like almost every concealer ends up looking kind of cakey and just not as flattering. Sometimes it can age you prematurely because it's kind of sunk into your fine lines. So I don't love going heavy on concealer when I'm at a park. If you want a recommendation, hold on. One of my favorites from the drugstore is from number 7. It's their Radiant Glow Concealer. This is one that really doesn't have high coverage, but it looks so nice and glowy, and it doesn't make you look older than you are. And so for me, honestly, this is great for many, many people, but if it were just me straight up going to the park, this is typically what I wear. But I wanted to give you guys a higher coverage option if that's what you wanted. But I'll link both below. I'll link everything I mentioned below. To get everything to stay, I like to set a lot of stuff. So this is the NYX HD Finishing Powder in Banana. I like to use this on my under eye just to set it in place no matter which concealer I'm using, because I do feel like it helps with the longevity of it all. Just kind of lightly. You can use loose powders too, but I find that this does just as nice of a job and it's less messy and just really quick. So one step you could do if you are super oily is to add the Super Stay Better Skin Transforming Powder. I love this stuff. I've had this one for a while. It's probably time for me to replace it, but it comes with this is a powder I like to carry around the parks with me or wherever. I'm just thinking Disney in my head because this is what I would do. It's great because it has a giant mirror, it has a sponge that's pretty decent, and you can really get some on the sponge and really get some serious coverage. So, like if you do end up sweating here and like the makeup does rub off, just get some of this and kind of brush it into it, and it instantly kind of melds back into your look. This powder is really good. I don't know why more people aren't talking about it. But for this look today, just to hold everything in, you could use this or a loose powder. Now, I struggle to recommend wearing loose powder when it's summery, only because oftentimes in the sun, you can just see it. You know what I mean? Any peach fuzz you have, you can see where that powder is on your nose. But on the other side, loose powder is amazing at increasing the staying power of your makeup, period. I mean, it can't be beat. And so that's why I kind of struggle between should use more of a powder foundation kind of a thing or a loose. So I would say it's totally up to you. For me, I would use loose powder more if it's like, maybe it's like the second half of the day and we're gonna go to dinner and I really wanna look nice. I would use loose powder and not worry about how it looks in the sun. But if I know we're gonna be pretty much outside most of the day, I would stick with either no powder at all or, you know, maybe more of a lighter one like this. So I'm gonna use the Super Stay Better Skin on this side, just kind of setting it a little bit, holding it in place. It does add a little bit more coverage, especially if you use the sponge. I'm just using a big e.l.f. fluffy brush. The loose powder I would recommend from the drugstore is from number 7. It's the Translucent Perfect Light Loose Powder. This stuff is incredible. I think this is a lot better. I like my NYC one and I like the Hard Candy one is okay. But this one is better at not looking terrible in the sun. So out of all the ones at the drugstore, this is my favorite. So if you are looking for one, I would recommend this one. So now I am gonna I'll wait on my brows. Let's go ahead and do bronzer, blush, highlight. So the bronzer I would recommend is the Physicians Formula Bronze Booster. It's got a bronzer, a contour, and like a lighter shade. You could totally use this to set your under eye. You could use it to, you know, lighten certain areas of your face, down your nose, whatever you want to do with it. And it actually adds a little bit of coverage. I've even used it down here, and I'll show you today, to clean up this area without using loose powder. I don't typically contour, just because if I'm gonna be in the sun, I don't know, but I will bronze. So I'm using the more bronzy shade over here and just a smaller fluffy brush. And I'm gonna kind of contour like with it. This really is pigmented, but I love how it stays in place all day. Ooh, I always forget how pigmented this is. Ugh. If that ever happens, just bring your sponge back into the game and kind of blend it back out. I'm gonna go ahead and do my blush. Now, I have two options. I have a cream blush. This is the NYX cream blush in Natural. I also love the one in Boho Chic. I need to buy that again. But I also have a powder blush. This is the Flower Pots powder blush in Sweet Pea. I love these flower blushes. Again, it's another product that I'm like, why is no one talking about these? These are crazy pigmented. They stay on all day. Really cute packaging, totally reminiscent of the Milani ones like this. This one's smaller and thinner though. If you're really wanting to have like crazy longevity with your blush and stuff, I recommend putting on a cream and then a powder on top. We're gonna do that with our blush and probably with our highlight as well. So I'm gonna use a stipple brush. It's a Morphe one. Guys, I'm not an affiliate. I almost don't even want to say that because I know when I hear people talk about Morphe, I'm like, No, I'm not an affiliate at all. They have no idea who I am. So I'm just gonna kind of lightly get this cream on the apples of my cheeks and back. I love this so much. It can get really pigmented, so I am kind of dotting it off on a washcloth beneath me, just so it's not like clown pink. But you wanna have a nice creamy base, because then, I just blew on this, oh my gosh. Because then, when you put a powder on top, it is gonna stick to that and just stay. It's awesome. So, let's try the Flower Beauty one. Again, I'm tapping extra off and just kind of lightly dusting it on top of that. And you will see it will not budge. Okay, done. It's not gonna move, I'm telling you. It is awesome. It's the same idea behind, you know, you put a foundation on, and then when you put, which is, you know, usually a cream type formula, and then when you put a powder on top, it holds it in place. It's the same thing with blush. If you put a cream blush on and then a powder one on top, it's gonna hold it in place. This e.l.f. Beautifully Bare liquid highlighter, I love. It's so simple, the packaging is so simple, and yet it's a beautiful product. Now, I also have my powder highlighter. This is the Essence Pure Nude. So if you are worried about how the sun will affect how your makeup looks, like if you don't want it to look powdery, I would say just do the cream highlight, because if you put powder there and you're worried about that, it will end up picking up imperfections in your face. Whereas a creamy one is a lot less likely to do that just because of its nature. So I am going to use this sponge, just another part of it, and I've kind of spread this out on my hand, and I'm just gonna kind of lightly tap it in that area. Oh my gosh. It's so pretty. Now, you can already see the stripes. So what I typically will do there is go back to the foundation part and just tap it in, so it's not being brought any farther up or down. It's just being kind of pushed into the area and blended just a little bit better. Isn't this so beautiful? Okay, other side. Get the tip of my nose. I love it. I feel like this is so like summery and glowy and just, oh, it's so pretty. And it's so, so cheap. Like I said, I'll link all of this below. If you are more concerned with staying power than how it looks in the sun, this would be a time to grab a loose powder and powder your entire face. You're still gonna be able to see the shine come through, but it's really gonna lock everything in. I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna go ahead and do that because I want you guys to see what it looks like. It doesn't look bad, it still looks beautiful, but just keeping in mind how it might look in the sun. Okay, so I'm gonna use a big old fluffy brush, and I'm just going to take some of this, just tap it into here. You could use a velour puff. You could use so many. A velour puff is going to give you a more thorough coverage. I don't necessarily want that, but I do still want a lot on my brush. I'm gonna focus most of it down there and then just brush a little bit up. Same thing, I'm gonna focus most of it down there and then brush it up. And see, you can still see the shine of the highlight. It didn't detract from that, but it certainly soaked up other oil, but it's also really holding on to the makeup. Again, the highlighter I would recommend for longevity if you wanted a powder is this Essence Pure Nude highlighter. It is so cheap, one of the most beautiful highlighters I've ever used. You can't, swatches don't really do it justice. It's so beautiful on. I just don't think I need any more highlight right now. All right, let's move on to brows. I have my L'Oreal, what do they actually call it? Brow Stylist Frame and Set. And I have it in 215 Deep Brunette. This, for reference, I wear the Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade in medium brown. This is the closest I've found. And these, I mean, any of these brow pomades, any of them. NYX has one, this L'Oreal one, of course Anastasia, but that one's not drugstore. They all stay on all day. You don't have to worry about any of these going anywhere. That's why pomades are the bomb. It took me a long time to kind of get on board with it, but I feel like now that I'm in the game, I get it, you know? So I'm just gonna kind of brush through my brows and let's go. I don't think this one is as creamy and easy to work with as the Anastasia. I'll tell you that right now. It still stays in place. So, I mean, if you're worried about that more than anything, and it still looks good. I don't think it looks bad, but it definitely does not like blend as easily. The Anastasia one really is a league above, but this is still really good. So to lock that in, I like to use the Milani Brow Shaping Clear Gel. This stuff is just great. I love the size of this spoolie. It's just a clear gel, but it's really gonna lock in the shape of your brows, which I don't do this every day because my brows aren't super bushy or anything. But if you do have beautiful, thicker brows and you want them to stay in place, this is great. It's not as strong as the Anastasia Clear Gel, but I think I like this better only because it's a little bit more natural looking. Okay, so next is eye primer. I love the Milani eyeshadow primer. It's touted on YouTube as one of the best because it is one of the best. So I'm just getting a little bit, putting it all the way from the bottom of my lid to the top, right under my brow bone. And oftentimes a little bit is still too much. This stuff is really, it's a little tiny bit goes a long way. So I end up wiping off a decent amount. No matter how many times I do it, I still get too much. How is that possible? But this stuff really locks in your shadows so that it doesn't move throughout the day. It's amazing for that. So I'm torn as to what drugstore palette to use. I love my NYX Perfect Filter palettes. These are so long wearing, beautiful shadows. They have a couple, I wanna get another, as if I need another palette, but I wanna get other ones. This one's in Olive Hue. And I just love it, but I've already done a look with this on my channel. I will link that below. So I'm thinking about going with one of my Milani little, I feel like I've done tons of Milani today, but they're so good. This is the Milani Earthy Elements quad. This one is Must Have Naturals. I'm trying to think of what the kinds of looks I do for a normal day in the park, I think leans more towards this Must Have Naturals. So I think that's what I'm going to use. And I love this because it has a matte black in it as well. But these shadows do such a great job of staying in place all day. So I'm gonna start with a fluffy brush and this kind of neutral, kind of, not peachy, like beige shade. And I'm just gonna put that everywhere to kind of set that eye primer. And then I'm going to get a thinner brush and you get this kind of deeper brown here. And I'm going to put that all over the lid as well. I'm just going to kind of get it into the crease and onto the lid. Just kind of cleaning up the edges with that light shade again, kind of helping to blend it with that shade. So now I'm going to take this kind of middle shade here. With my finger, I'm just going to tap it onto the lid. It's a beautiful shimmery shade. And I just think it looks so pretty on top of that deeper brown that we used. Getting a little bit more of the dark brown in the crease with the fluffier brush and blending it out. So I'm going to use this kind of pretty white over here with a flat brush and put it right under the brow bone. Now, this is totally optional. This is shimmery, and I know some people do not like shimmer. That is way too much, Jessica. That is, oh my gosh. Some people do not like shimmer on the brow bone. I think it looks so pretty. So for me, I like it. I don't think it's too much. I mean, I had a lot, but it blended really well. I think it's just so pretty, even in the sun. I remember seeing someone, we were like in line somewhere at Disney, and I saw someone with, you know, that under her brow, and I was like, oh my gosh, like it just looked so pretty. I don't know. And why do I remember that still? Isn't that weird? We also have this beautiful like cream. I'm gonna put that right in the center. We're gonna blend it, don't worry. So now we've used almost every shade except for this black one. So for me, okay, this is gonna be weird. I sometimes when I'm at a place like a park or a barbecue where I know I'm going to be in photos, I like to go a little heavier on the eyeliner because I feel like it looks better in photos, especially if they're taken from far away. Because a more subtle look on just a normal camera with a bunch of friends doesn't come across as nicely as it does when someone takes a picture of it for YouTube or Instagram, you know? So I'm gonna use kind of a pencil brush and this black, and it is a true matte black. And I'm going to kind of tight line my eyes here on top, and I'm also gonna bring it down below. So I love, my favorite liner that's waterproof is the Milani Stay Put Waterproof Eyeliner. I need to sharpen it. This stuff is amazing. It's so creamy, and I'm just gonna tight line with it. It does not budge. Ooh. And I'm also gonna go ahead, I'm gonna clean it up, don't worry. I'm gonna put it in my lower waterline. This is a fantastic liner for this. It just stays in place. It's so good. And you know, you could toss it in your bag if you're really that concerned about it. Okay, so the key to eyeliner lasting all day no matter what, and I just do this every day of my life unless I'm in a hurry, is to triple layer it. So put on a nice pencil liner, then a gel or cream liner, then a liquid liner, and that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna use the L'Oreal Lacquer Liner in Blackest Black. I love this stuff. And that's gonna go on next. And then I'll top it with a liquid liner. Now moving on to the liquid, this is the NYX Epic Ink Liner. It is the best liquid liner at the drugstore, period. I have tried, I swear to you, every single one out there. This is the one. This is the best one. It's super black, really easy to use, and it stays in place. Here's the last step before lips. And before I put on my mascara, I like to spray my face. So this is the Milani Make It Last Setting Spray. It's so good, and I always shake it. It says 16-hour wear. I mean, it's awesome. It is so good, totally comparable to expensive versions, but I like to spray it on before my mascara so I don't get mascara all over the place. Ah, and it smells so good. This is a great way if you are concerned about having powder. This is a great way to easily help the powder meld into your skin so it's not as obvious, and it helps it stay longer. They also have a Make It Dewy setting spray that I have that I really like, but I like the Make It Last just a little bit better. I currently don't have any waterproof mascaras on hand, but if you know that either your eyes kind of get watery, or maybe it's allergy season for you, or you're gonna be near a pool and you might get splashed, I would use a waterproof mascara. I don't wear waterproof every day because when I used to, my eyelashes were falling out. And it would, you know, I couldn't decide if it was how I was removing it, and I would try so many different things. And I thought, why am I doing this to myself? Just use regular mascara. And I did. And once I found great regular mascaras, I didn't feel like I was missing out on the waterproof. The nice thing about waterproof is they tend to hold the curl really well, but they're just, I don't know, it was literally making my lashes fall out. And I was using it for years in shows and things like that. So I finally found my favorite, the IT Cosmetics Superhero. You could totally do the Lash Princess as well. That is totally a dupe. The one I have currently is like done. Like, it is absolutely way too old to be using, and I didn't want to use just a random other drugstore. I wanted to show you. So this is the only product that is not drugstore. I'm so sorry, but truly the Essence Lash Princess Mascara, I'll put it on the screen right now and I will link it below, is absolutely just as good. So just pretend I'm using that, because they really do end up having the same look and they both last all day. Of course, you can get the waterproof version of that if you really want it. I'm just going to use the regular. I've not noticed with this that I've really needed a waterproof version when I'm sweating. It just doesn't go anywhere. Now, if I were like straight up swimming with mascara, well, yeah, it's probably going to go. But I've never noticed it running at all. So I have two options for lips. Two different sides of the spectrum. If you want to put on a lipstick that is not going to move all day, I would recommend the Wet n Wild Liquid Catsuits. Now, these dry out your lips. Like every liquid lipstick I've ever tried, they dry out your lips, period. So after a couple of hours, I would say maybe 4 hours, you're going to see some wear only on the inside and maybe in the corners. So you might just put it in your purse or whatever you're carrying around with you and just reapply every few hours if you're into that. For me, it's just too uncomfortable, especially if I'm sweating, it's hot, whether I'm at a barbecue, if I'm eating, I don't even want to have to think about it. So for me, I'll slap on a lip balm most of the time, maybe a gloss, but if I want a little color, I love these. Now, these are not gonna not move, they will move, but they're comfortable, and I can apply it again without a mirror, and if I'm about to eat, I can just wipe it off really quickly, you know, with a napkin and not feel like it's gonna be all over my face or hard to get off. This is the Neutrogena Moisture Smooth Color Stick. I have it in the shade Pink Nude. You can put it on, I have lip balm on, you can put it on right on top. It smells amazing, it feels good on the lips. Your lips aren't dying at the end of the day. I love it. Isn't it just so pretty? You didn't need liner, you didn't need gloss, anything. It's just beautiful on its own. They have a couple different shades. This is just my favorite. And I feel like I could have done anything with my eyes, it wouldn't have mattered. I could be wearing any outfit and I can just throw it in my purse. Now, the only thing that would make me nervous is if it would maybe melt. I think if you're moving around going in, I don't think it would melt, but like if it's sitting in your car, I am sure it would melt. So hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you have other video recommendations for me, please let me know down below. If you yourself have done a sweat-proof video, I'd also love to see that. Let me know down below as well. Otherwise, I hope that you will stick around and catch some more of my videos, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.